People of Ugwu woke to the sound of the ground, remembering. Even the air seemed to shake with ancient anger. Odo knelt beside the trench that marked the edge of the village. He pressed his palm into the soil, and the soil answered, trembling with life. It pulsed up his arm, into his chest, like a secret wanting to be free. Behind him stood the elders, wrapped in white cloth and red chalk. Their voices quivered as they chanted the names of the forgotten. Warriors sharpened blades on stone, women tied their head wraps tight, and the children, those who knew what fear was, were led toward the sacred groves, where the ancestors were said to shelter the innocent. Elder Priest Izu lifted a blackened gourd high. "These are not drums of men," he said. "The Ata calls to what lies beneath." A silence heavier than sorrow followed. Even the leaves froze in place. Odo rose slowly. His shadow stretched across the red ground like a warning. "Prepare the traps," he said. His voice was calm, but his eyes carried fire, the kind that remembers loss. Nekem came to him, her cowrie shells clicking softly in the morning light. She tied his leather vambrace, hands steady, though her heart trembled. "They're coming, Odo," she whispered, from beneath the hill, just as the dream warned. He looked at her, the calm in the storm, and nodded once. "Let them come," he said. "This time the soil will sing for us." Then he lifted his bow and walked into the mist. By mid-morning, the warriors of Ugwu had taken their positions. They moved like shadows through the forest, barefoot, faces painted white, charms tied with twine. They carried spears, yes, but what they truly carried was the breath of their ancestors. Kalunta, the quiet thinker, traced Nsibidi symbols in the dirt, covering each mark with leaves. "These signs," he murmured to the forest, "call to the old ones. Guard our steps." The air thickened with scent ash, palm oil, and iron. From somewhere deeper among the trees, something answered. Elder Izu sprinkled crimson powder in slow circles. As the dust fell, the earth began to hum low, ancient, like a song sung from beneath the roots. He whispered into the wind, "Let the trees hear us." And the trees listened. Branches bent, leaves shivered, though there was no breeze. From behind a fallen Iroko, a spirit stepped forward, tall as a man, pale as bone, crowned with antlers of a deer. Its eyes glowed like burning coal. It said nothing. It only watched. Even the spirits had come to witness Ugwu's stand. Odo moved among his warriors, dipping arrowheads into a bowl of goat blood, herbs, and ashes. Each arrow gleamed with the color of vengeance. He marked each warrior's forehead with white ash. "You do not fight alone," he said softly. "You carry every name that ever walked this soil." When he reached his sons, he paused. Kalunta's eyes were calm. Nanana's burned with youth and defiance. He placed a hand on both their shoulders. "Remember, war is a story, and every story must end with truth." Then he turned to the shrine of bones, where the fallen hung wrapped in cloth. He placed his palms on the earth before it. "Ugwu does not stand on land," he said. "It stands on sacrifice. Today, we fight for names that time must never erase." The forest shivered, not in fear, but in memory. The sun dipped low. The drums grew louder. Boom, boom, boom. Each strike like a heartbeat beneath the soil. Mist rolled from the hills, blue and shimmering, whispering in lost tongues. Odo raised his hand. Every warrior froze. The forest held its breath. Then came footsteps, heavy, slow, ancient. From the mist, a figure appeared, tall, broad, his armor made of bone and stolen symbols. Nsibidi twisted into corruption. Each line glowed faint red, as if the forest's memory itself had been rewritten. Odo's heart clenched. Those were the marks of Ugwu, stolen and turned against them. The figure smiled. Behind him came others, the Ata's warriors, faces hidden, eyes hollow and white. Each step made the ground tremble. This was no myth now. This was the day when the tale became flesh. The Ata war chief lifted a great black axe, its blade breathing smoke, dripping with red mist. He pointed it at Odo. No words, just that grin. A grin that said, "Your gods are dead." The wind rose. The moon turned crimson. The earth pulsed once, twice, then the glyphs in the soil began to glow. The forest erupted in light. Blue fire burst from the ground. Traps ignited, circling the Ata warriors. The earth cracked open, and from its wounds rose hands, hands of the forgotten, hands that pulled the invaders down into the red earth, screaming. But the war chief stood unmoved. He laughed, a sound like stone breaking. He struck his axe into the ground. The tremor split the field in two. Warriors were thrown into the air. Trees fell. The drums beneath the ground grew mad and furious. Odo rose from the dust. Somewhere inside the storm, he heard his father's voice, distant and calm. "Do not fight the soil, my son," commanded. His eyes glowed blue beneath his cracked mask. He clenched his fist, and the ground obeyed. The Battle of Ugwu had begun, not on the surface, but in the earth itself. Night swallowed the hills. The red soil shook, as if it remembered every name it had ever taken. The drums kept beating. Boom, boom, boom. Angry, alive, endless. In the village, Nekem stood at the shrine, holding two feathers, one white, one black. Her eyes were wet, but her voice was steady. "Spirits of Ugwu," she whispered. "Stand beside him." A gust blew through the huts. The lamps flickered. The scent of dust and thunder filled the air. Far beyond the valley, Odo and the Ata war chief circled through smoke and fire. The sky burned. The forest screamed. And beneath their feet, the drums rolled on, calling, remembering, awakening. The ground trembled. Then, silence. For a breath, for a heartbeat. And from the red earth, a shadow rose huge, endless, alive. A voice followed, low and terrible, like the breaking of mountains. The soil remembers who it feeds. Then the drums began again, louder, closer, this time from beneath her feet. If your ancestors could rise beside you in battle, would you still fear, or would you fight harder? Drop your answers in the comments if your spirit is ready. Tell us what you think lies beneath Ugwu.